Udlakut, welcome. I'm Lori Idlout, and I'm the NDP MP for Nunavut. Every day in Iqaluit, we listen to the people. I see and hear the challenges our communities are dealing with, and some of these issues include people needing better housing, people needing parents who need child care, and families who deserve care closer to their home. I see how strong and kind our communities are. It is people who help their neighbors, who support their friends, and help look out for each other and their children. I'm proud to be a New Democrat because we are the party for people, everyday people. I am so thankful and appreciate Jagmeet for coming to Iqaluit because he helps to highlight how important the North is. He brings, with his presence as the national leader for the NDP national audience, to help ensure that Northerners are felt as heard and as important as the rest of Canada. I'm proud of the work that we've accomplished together, and with this, including the extension of the Inuit Child First initiative. There is much more that we have to do, and I believe and support, and I'm so appreciative of Jagmeet for coming to Nunavut so we can do this together. I will be happy to welcome Jagmeet after I've done my speech in Inuktitut. Sivudlangmin udlakut, tunga suktipasi, uvanga Lori Idlout ngudlunga, maligaliok tukjariyaw lunga Nunavut miuno. Kuya sumarik po nga ikarong nilota naragyak tokata. Takusi mayugot, tusasi mayugot, aksugota kuya unik, soklo, ang ikakiksaruang nek, ang ikatiaba kareakang nek, kitungait, payriyaw tiyak jumiyariakang ningin ni Victor kareakang ningan ni, amaro, takwa kinakutuin night, ang ikagit jumiyangin ni kan jumiyunik, ikayok tayo naktunit anyak vilyak tunon. Nunavut miyo taod luta, takwa purakak simayaka, taku simayaka, ikayok tigiktut, nunakatiminit, pikatiminit, takwa kitungang minidlo. Kuya sumarik po nga NDP kun kigak tuid nga takwa kigak toktavut ikayok tuiga sukat kinakutuin nang net. Akswaro kuya po nga Jagmeet tamang nga ikarong no tikimat tana NDP kun no sivurak tiritid lutigo tunek kanyang mat amisunod tusaw matitivalang niyang mat no ukyok taktong miutaw yok tigot pimaryo kataw nitin ni pivot tusayaw kataw niyang mat silata no nabo silatani ukyok takto silatani. Akswaro kuvyasok po nga NDP kudluta kayo sige aktitikan ng migata sorluta ko inuit kitong atinit ikayo siyangin ni ungabari aktitilaw kata akswaro tigim maritlutigo amisukan ng ni piliriyak sakaktugo kayo madlunga NDP kutigot amaro Jagmeet sivurak tigilutigo pilirikan ng niyakatigo akswaro kuvyasok po nga tungasok tito nakakutana sivurak tigo Jagmeet Singh kuyan namin.
Thank you so much, Lori. We are so lucky that you are such a powerful voice in the North. Lori is a tireless advocate for the people of the North, for the people of Nunavut, and one of the strong pillars of our team. So I'm so honored that you're here and that you're doing this great work. I also want to thank the Premier, who I was able to speak with before the visit to the territory to understand from his perspective the government of Nunavut's priorities. We are living in some dangerous times. We are seeing our once strong ally turn their back on us, with Donald Trump attacking our very sovereignty, attacking our workers, attacking our economy. And we see Donald Trump cozying up to dictators like Vladimir Putin. It means that we are in more dangerous times than ever before. Given that, we need to invest in our defense. And for New Democrats, investing in defense means investing in people. So when we talk about investing in Arctic defense, that means investing in Arctic communities. That means investing in the people that live here. So our announcement today is we want to invest in defense, and so that means we want to invest in the community. Some of the community investments that we want to highlight and this is with the work of Lori and speaking with community stakeholders. One is, you can't build a strong community without housing. So we want to strengthen and work with Nunavut 3000 to build the homes in these communities that are much needed. We also need to build the infrastructure that community needs to be able to thrive. And one of those projects that we fully support is the Iqaluit hydro fiber project. This will provide hydroelectricity and internet connectivity to the north. We also know that runways and airport infrastructure are vital to connect communities. So with that in mind, we want to pave the runway at Cambridge Bay in addition to other airport infrastructure upgrades. We need to support community groups like the Rangers. The Rangers who do great work but are often not getting compensated quick enough and not getting enough compensation. We need to improve that so we can improve their capacity. We also need to invest in deep water ports. This is one of the most important ways to get goods into and out of the community, so we need investments. One of the projects we want to see completed is the Nunavut project. That needs to be completed, but we need additional deep ports like projects in Iqaluit and Grays Bay. These are projects that are fundamental to building a strong north. And marine search and rescue provide vital services, vital rescue services in the north, but they need additional stations. So we want to see investments in a station, one in central Nunavut, as well as additional small craft harbors around the territory. Like I said, we need to invest in defense in this difficult time. So our specific commitment around defense is New Democrat and a New Democrat government will commit to meeting the 2% of GDP, our NATO commitment, by 2032. When we talk about investing in defense, we talk about investing in people, and that goes for the workers as well. We believe all workers should be well paid and should be able to be safe when they go to work. That should also apply to our Canadian Armed Forces. They should be well paid and they should be safe doing the work we ask of them. And one of the big problems with safety in the armed forces is that the men and women who serve do not have the equipment that they need to do the work we ask of them. So some of the investments we want to make to support our armed forces. One, we need to build homes for armed forces members on base. So we are committing to 5,000 new homes to be built for the armed forces across this country. We need to support our veterans as well. Those who serve our country should also know after they've served, they will get access to the supports they need. And so our commitment is to support the veterans as well. With respect to buying equipment, if we're going to buy equipment in Canada, we need to make sure we're creating jobs in Canada. With that in mind, New Democrats would cancel the F-35 contract. How can we purchase equipment from a country that has literally threatened our democracy, our very sovereignty? We cannot purchase from the United States anymore. It is not in our national security interest to do so. So we'd cancel that project and instead, or cancel that contract, and instead, we need fighter jets. Let's buy fighter jets where the company will build those jets in our country, creating jobs, but also a national security of knowing that we can build and we can maintain those fighter jets in our own country. I also make the same commitment to the P-8 Poseidon project. The P-8 Poseidon, again, it's an American country. Purchasing from the States at this time is not in our national security interest. So instead, we'd find a Canadian alternative. Boeing has, or Bombardier has talked about being able to have an alternative to the Boeing plane. And so let's support made in Canada solutions. What are the other parties talking about when it comes to their commitments around security? Well, with Mark Carney and the Liberals, they are talking about budget cuts. So they want to cut investments in healthcare. They want to cut investments in people. That is not the way to invest in the North. That is not the way to invest in our defense. Cutting the budget, cutting the things that communities need is not a solution. And Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, their track record on defense is abysmal. They had the lowest spending on defense when they were in power under Harper. They had the lowest amount of investments in defense, and they cut to veterans. They hurt the very people that served our country, that served with honor. They let them down, turned their backs on them. The Conservatives are not the solution on defense. They did not support our defense community, nor did they support those who have served as in veterans. We are in difficult times right now. But in these difficult times, I want to give people hope. We can invest in solutions. And for New Democrats, the solutions are investing in defense means investing in communities, investing in people. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'll do that again in French, and then I look forward to your questions. D'abord, je veux remercier Lori Idlout, notre députée, pour son travail acharné. On est tellement fiers que Lori Idlout, c'est notre députée dans la communauté. Je veux aussi remercier le Premier ministre de Nunavut avec qui j'ai parlé avant de ma visite ici. Nous sommes dans un temps difficile, un temps plus dangereux que jamais. Avec la menace de Donald Trump, notre ancien allié maintenant n'est plus notre allié. Elle a attaqué notre souveraineté, notre indépendance. Donc, il est proche des dictateurs comme Poutine, en même temps qu'il attaque nos alliés. Donc, c'est clair qu'on est dans des temps dangereux. Et ça veut dire, ça c'est pourquoi, dans les temps dangereux, on doit investir dans notre défense. Pour nous et pour moi, investir dans notre défense, ça veut dire investir dans les peuples. Donc, si on parle de défense de le Nord, ça veut dire qu'on doit investir davantage dans les peuples qui habitent dans le Nord et dans les communautés dans le Nord aussi. Ça veut dire investir dans le logement, investir dans les projets d'infrastructure. Avec la défense, notre engagement aujourd'hui, c'est on va atteindre notre cible de 2%. Et pour nous, investir dans notre défense, ça veut dire investir dans les travailleurs et ça veut dire qu'on va investir pour augmenter les salaires des travailleurs de Force canadienne et aussi investir dans le logement. Avec les contrats, je pense que les travailleurs méritent des bons emplois et aussi des emplois sécuritaires. C'est la même chose pour les Forces canadiennes. À ce moment, les Forces canadiennes n'ont pas l'équipement adéquat pour faire le travail qu'on demande qu'ils fassent. Donc, on doit acheter les équipements modernes. Et si on achète des équipements pour nos Forces canadiennes, on doit créer des emplois pour les Canadiens aussi. Ça, c'est pourquoi je veux annuler le contrat d'achat pour les F-35. Au lieu de ça, on doit avoir un contrat où on crée des bons emplois au Canada. C'est la même chose avec le contrat pour la P-8 Poseidon. On doit avoir une alternative pour les avions qui sont construits au Canada. Finalement, dans ces temps difficiles, je veux encore montrer les autres options. Carney veut couper dans le budget. Ce n'est pas la bonne chose à faire pour investir dans le Nord. On ne peut pas avoir des coupures dans les soins de santé. Et les conservateurs, quand ils étaient au pouvoir, ont eu le bilan le pire pour les dépensements pour les défenses. Ils ont eu le moins de dépenses pour les défenses et ils ont coupé les services pour les vétérans. C'est la mauvaise chose à faire. Donc, dans ces temps difficiles, vous pouvez croire en nous, l'NPD, pour défendre les travailleurs, pour investir dans les travailleurs et pour investir dans l'équipement qui est construit au Canada pour un futur qui est plus sécuritaire pour le Canada. Merci. And with that, I'm ready for any questions you might have. Morning.
This release, you have to mention key projects, and you mentioned the Grace Day going forward. So what are the components of both those projects? Development Hydro is potentially a $3 billion project. Grace Day is likely a $1 billion project. How are you going to secure the funding to pay for those projects, but also the government moves that are essential to this security?
Well, these are priorities. Right now we're hearing a lot of people talk about Arctic defense and defending the North. We believe you cannot separate defense of the North from investing in the North. You can't make the North strong in terms of defense unless the North is strong in terms of community and infrastructure. We cannot separate the two. So we have to find the investments to build up the North to be able to defend it, but also to support the communities. We believe those two are deeply connected, and we will find the ways to make those investments.
And I want to follow up. Recently, Lori said to us that she believes Nunavut is an NDP stronghold. Obviously, she's the only candidate so far in this election, but to what extent do you believe Nunavut is an NDP stronghold, and why should people vote NDP this coming election?
Certainly. First of all, we have an incredible person that's representing this community. Lori Idlout has shown you her heart, her commitment, how she's fighting for the people, or she's standing up for the people in the North. Similarly, I'm committed to the North. I've been here multiple times. I will continue to come back. I want the North to know. I want Nunavut to know. I want Nunavut to know that you matter, and that coming here is my way of showing that you matter and making announcements like, you'll hear from other people talking about defense in the North, but you'll not hear that same commitment that you cannot invest in Northern military defense without investing in the communities, investing in the people. And so that's our unique offer. We really believe in that. And for folks out there, I know there's a lot of challenges in the North. There's a lot of challenges that need to be addressed, and we are committed to that. We're committed to investing in housing. All right, committed to investing in energy, in the infrastructure that you need to thrive. The people of the North can absolutely thrive. They need a willing partner at the federal level to allow that to happen. And so we are that partner. We're gonna stand with you. We're gonna work together, and we're gonna build up the North.
You mentioned that cancellation of the F-35 contract in the U.S. What other contracts that are currently that the U.S. needs to receive that stuff?
Yeah, so the two projects that I outlined today, I think, are the two best examples: the F-35 and the P-8 Poseidon. And just to lay it out, how can we purchase from a country that has literally threatened our very sovereignty? For the F-35 to maintain those aircraft and to upgrade them, as one has to do, that requires an American company providing the software updates, the maintenance. It's entirely going to be coming from the States. What's to say that Donald Trump in some way delays that, stops that, prevents that from happening? It is not in our security interest and not in our national interest to continue with that project. Instead, an example of a project that I favor to fulfill that need for those aircraft is the proposal from Saab, which would build a factory in Canada. Their proposal was they would build a factory in Canada for the Gripen aircraft. They would meet our needs militarily, but they would also be built in Canada, maintained in Canada, which is a much better solution for our national security interests and for our sovereignty. And similarly, when I give the example of the P-8 Poseidon, that is a Boeing aircraft. Instead of the Boeing aircraft, there is a Bombardier alternative, the Global 6500, which could be modified to meet the requirements of that marine aircraft. And so let's go with a Canadian solution. Let's go with built in Canada, made in Canada, supporting Canadian jobs, and in fact, better for our national security.
And another one of your commitments you mentioned was the plan to increase defense spending to 2% by 2032. Just on that, I seem to recall you mentioning previously on CTV's question period here. Do you think that's an arbitrary number if you don't support that number? So why did it take so long for the NDP to switch policies when it's clear that the world's been unstable for some time?
Things have changed rapidly very recently. We've seen our closest ally turn their back on us and literally attack our sovereignty. Things are quite different now. We find ourselves in a very difficult position now. And as a party, we've looked for alternatives, but right now we're in a position where there is no other alternative. We need to invest in our defense. We need to invest in the men and women that serve our country. And so our commitment is we will meet that target. But we'll do it in the way that we've laid out. We'll do it in the way that we said, investing in the workers, making sure that the personnel in the armed forces are paid a good wage. Investing in homes, building those homes that people need so they can live on base. Investing in the communities, like I laid out, the infrastructure projects in the North are a part of our commitment. We need to invest in the North for our defense and in the communities to build a strong community.
We'll go to questions on Zoom.
Okay, so just a reminder, if you have a question on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. We will go ahead and start with Mark Ramsey with the Toronto Star. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Singh. Thanks for taking our question.
Of course.
I just want to get your reaction. Mark Carney's first act as Prime Minister was to sign an order that basically brought down the consumer carbon tax to $0. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, now that we've that's been done, let's move forward in terms of how we can actually tackle the climate crisis. We've said for a long time, and we'll lay the details of our plan out closer to the campaign, but we said for our plan to tackle the climate crisis needs to go after big polluters. Big polluters should not be able to pollute in our country and get away without any cost. That's something that Conservatives want to see happen. The Conservative plan has been to let big polluters pollute as much as they want, which is no plan. And so now let's focus on what we can do to actually protect the environment, and let's look at other solutions that help people make better choices. Let's support communities like in the North, investments in clean energy like the Hydro Project. Let's support people that want to make the cleaner choice by making it easier to make that choice. As we've long said, the Liberal approach to this challenge of the climate crisis, which is one of the biggest challenges we're up against, has been one that's largely ignored everyday people, put the burden on them, and rather let big polluters off the hook. That can't continue, and so that's what we're going to be focused on moving forward. What do we now do to tackle the climate change in a meaningful way that goes after the big polluters and supports working families?
I'm curious also what you would say to NDP supporters who have always believed in fighting climate change and believe that the party should go further than the Liberals. But here you are, you haven't announced your climate plan. It's been about a year since you kind of shifted to this messaging of the Liberals' climate plan and saying that you will have a different plan. But you've yet to announce it. Here you are announcing a plan to spend 2% of your GDP on military. There's still no climate plan. So what's your response to that?
Well, we'll absolutely have a climate plan ready for the campaign. It's what I said before, that we will release that plan for the campaign. But we've told folks the elements of our plan. The Liberals have not gone after big polluters. We said we would go after big polluters. We pushed to end fossil fuel subsidies. That's been our position. The Liberals have failed to do that. We said that workers need supports to be able to make cleaner choices. Again, the government has been slow to bring in some measures, if any measures, on that. And so we want to see, we'll lay out our plan, but our plan is one where we're going to support working people, go after big polluters, and make sure we're actually meeting our goals to reduce emissions.
There are no more questions, so this concludes our press conference. Ceci conclut la conférence de presse. Merci, thank you.
Merci, thanks again for being here, and big shout out to Lori, a very powerful voice here in the North. Merci. Kian Namik. Nakumiak.
Okay.
I was waiting for the all clear. That was great. That worked out perfect.
Excellent.
The little
Yeah, the little
ballet there.
switch
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're rolling? Yeah, so sorry, just one last follow-up question. It's an election-related question. Obviously now, we could be days away from an election being called. How concerned are you about falling support for your party in the polls, considering we could just be days out from an election being called?
Well, this election is going to be an important choice for Canadians. The choice is you have Mark Carney, who has shown you through his track record that he will make lots of profits for billionaires, but will throw workers to the side. One example of that, he was the head of a large corporate landlord that kicked people out of their homes through renovictions, where people were kicked out, that a unit was then renovated with a new marble countertop or something, and then put back on the market for triple the price it was before. Made a lot of money for the big company, but didn't help people find homes that are affordable. That's not someone that's going to deal with the housing crisis. That's someone that was a part of the problem. And then Pierre Poilievre, he's someone that wants to cut. He wants to cut the things that you need. Cut investments into healthcare at a time when people can't get the healthcare they need, and it's going to cost people. So those are the two options there. Our commitment is let's invest in the solutions. Let's reinforce and strengthen our healthcare, lower people's bills, build homes that they can afford. New Democrats are a real alternative in this difficult time.
I was also going to ask a follow-up. The last time you were here in Iqaluit when we spoke, one of your big priorities was Nutrition North and the food insecurity of the North. I guess this is kind of a double question. How much do you think the world has changed since then to shift your priorities to defense, and to what extent are those issues still on your radar?
Oh, they're absolutely still on our radar. We just did a tour of one of the first country food stores in the North, and we met with those folks. They talked about how with the soup kitchen, when they first started, was serving maybe a couple of hundred people. Now they're upwards of 500 to 600 people that they serve at the soup kitchen. So food security remains a major concern. Lori has been a really strong voice in pointing out that Nutrition North is not working the way it's supposed to, and that we need a program that really helps people get access to nutritious food and that's affordable. Things we can do to support that are supporting the charity that the country food store. That's a charity that we need to see more supports for. We need to support local hunters for sustainable access to food. We need better access to more affordable, nutritious food, and that remains a serious concern. It's only gotten worse, I would say, over the time instead of gotten better. But we've seen some really important steps. Lori fighting for the initiative to get children supports that on the last minute was able to be saved. That was Lori fighting for, pushing for that. Lori pushing to get more attention to the broken program is drawing attention to it to make it better. So we are seeing improvements from New Democrats pushing, but it clearly remains a big problem.
And just for the record, it was Kinnickvik that we visited yesterday.
Yeah. Thanks so much.